Hi there, it's Nick Dutch back again. Now, I want to share with you just a little more. I'm recording this video the same evening that I recorded the previous one, but just for today, for some reason, I'm just feeling talkative, okay? I mean, I recorded that video, got on with the washing up, stopped halfway through it, and just, like, stuff appeared up there. And I like using the camera as a means of, like, getting stuff out of my system, explaining things to people out there who I think haven't quite got it, whatever it is, or just sharing some of my hobbies and interests and things which I'm buzzing about at the time, okay? And it's sharing, okay? I'm sharing something about myself to you, whoever you are, okay? I may not have even had a text exchange with you on YouTube. I may not have exchanged tweets with you. I may not even be following you on Facebook. I don't care, okay? You're still people who I'm interacting with. And so I think it's important that I do talk about this. This concept which I kind of like alluded to and I kind of like mentioned, which was the concept of alignment, okay? As opposed to being out of alignment. I like pictured like a hypothetical perfect level as a horizontal line, and our life moves along like this, and we kind of like move below it into like negativity, and then up above it to too much positivity, or whatever. And it's not quite that black and white. There's all kinds of other different dimensions and primary colors associated with different forms of positives and negatives and all the rest of that. And obviously this is just like a hypothetical two-dimensional model which I'm explaining to you just through talking, because I don't have like whopping great 3D CG graphics and plenty of time to make the model, edit it and present it to you in some kind of like really dramatic way, because I'm a busy man, okay? But I can still explain the concept of alignment, because I want you guys to stop thinking in terms of good versus evil. All right, it's very easy to move, to fall into the trap which has been laid down by some forms of interpretation of theology, which has been fortified by the popular media and Hollywood style movies and all that kind of stuff. Just saying like this is good, that is evil. This is what happens if you're good. That's what happens if you're evil, and various hypothetical definitions of what good versus evil is, and trying to make us afraid of things which basically might not actually be quite that bad. Sure, I think we can all say that there's some extremely negative things, and we have a legal system to deal with that. Okay, but that's not quite what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about like your passage through life. All right, your standard ordinary passage through life as a normal ordinary individual, and trying to reach a good state. I mean, I just said this to the vicar at one point a while ago. This is a weird vicar, gone through all his ecclesiastical training and all the rest of that, and he's the vicar of one of the two churches which are in my local area. And he was saying like holding up the Bible and saying you can't take this thing literally. For instance, crazy guy. Love him though, because he's got all the garb. He's got the evangelical style at times, which makes me think like scary person, because I find the evangelical style a bit like not my sort of thing. I just don't like it. Okay, or typically I don't like it. But I said to him, I'm going to go home and I'm going to take the afternoon off work and I'm going to clean the bathroom because that makes me feel more in alignment. And he just looked at me knowingly and nodded and smiled, because he kind of like knew what that word meant. Alright, in terms of doing something that makes you feel different. Now, it's purely superstitious if you think about it. I mean, what is it about the action of taking some hot water and some soap or a steam cleaner or whatever to your bathroom that changes your emotional state and makes you feel different inside? Okay? All you're doing is removing that which is visually difficult for you as a human being. That's all you're doing. Alright? Like clearing up a space on your desk. But yet that has a emotional impact upon you as a human being, and you think differently. And once you've got everything clean and tidy in your living space, the place which you see on a day-to-day basis, for some reason, okay, this is like the clue, the important bit. For some reason, what it does is it communicates itself to how you treat other people. Because you feel different inside, and then that works well with your work. It's like when you're going out for a night out, okay? How are you perceived by other people, and how do you treat other people when you're wearing mucky clothes and you look terrible? As opposed to when you've got yourself smart, clean, tidy, shaven, you know, or if you ladies out there, mascara and all the rest of that in place, and then you go out. It's different. It's totally irrational and illogical. Why would anyone react different to you if you're dressed differently? They do. Why do you feel different and react towards other people when you're dressed differently? It's completely irrational. But yet it is important to us in the deep subconscious mind, way, way, way back here. And that communicates itself to all your emotional states and provides you with clarity of thought and brings you into alignment. Okay? So instead of thinking about good versus evil, try and think about bringing yourself closer into a position of alignment with each and every single day. Alright? Because when you're out of alignment, things aren't good. Things will get worse in your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your relationship partner. It'll translate into your work. Your work becomes less, even for someone who's working from home. Alright? Because if you move out of alignment, things get bad and don't work very well. I have, previously looked into various different cultures, which, and subcultures within the world, partially because I was curious. I mean, this is like the whole passage of my life, I got involved with one group here, one group there, and all the rest of that, which is basically, which is okay, because it's enabled me to become Nick Dutch the way I am today. But in going through those various different groups, there was some times when I came across things which I felt were kind of like negative. And I felt these things were kind of like negative because I saw in those groups of people a desire to deliberately go into lack of alignment and to see that as being part of their identity. I've mentioned the idea of identity before and why I think that it's somehow wrong to have that much of a rigid sense of identity, and the fact that maybe a more fluid concept of who you are or what you are is actually a good thing. So, some way back in all of the, God knows, 2,000 odd videos I've done, I'm quite an active YouTube user. It's almost way more than 2,000 now if you think about all the channels I've had, but never mind. Because like in these like subcultures, some individuals would find what was wrong with them and go into it more and more and more and more. Okay? And they would use, so it seemed to me, alright, their membership of the subculture as a way of allowing themselves the right to go into this thing, whether it's prejudice, whether it's racism, whether it's anger, bitterness, whatever, and to go into that, and even to see that as being good, when a lot of these emotions, thoughts and feelings weren't necessarily all that healthy. Okay? I'm going to confess something to you. Okay? I mean, I'm a human being, and I've had issues before. Okay? And I actually deliberately found groups of people that I could talk to share or deal with those issues in one form or another. And I found in these groups a lot of sensitivity against religious ideas, either very strongly towards or very strongly against. It was expressed very subtly. It wasn't overt. It wasn't screamed and shouted. But if you expressed an idea or an interest in something that was very different to the way someone felt, you could expect some almost conflict-based, passive-aggressive, weird behavior from them. And it's like, what's going on there? Okay? Why are people taking things which aren't really all that serious and blowing them up too much? What's, what psychology, okay, is going on there? And it's out of alignment. Alright, it's out of alignment with just being like peaceful, balanced, relaxed, objective, sociable. Alright, it's out of alignment. Alright? But yet there were people who were just like going into this, that, and the other. Oh, I hate this about my body, so I'm going to have tattoos. But I have these tattoos because I hate my body. Well, your body isn't actually too bad, so why not get some help to understand your attitudes towards your body, rather than necessarily spending money on having these tattoos done to change your body. Alright? Why weren't they thinking like that? Or, someone else who had another issue with their body and they would actually do self-harming as a way of expressing their hatred against their body. And I thought, what's going on there? Why were there quite so many sensitivities with them? Were they evil? No, certainly not. Outside of that culture, they were perfectly, well-adjusted, normal people with like their own whatever. It was great, fine, no problem at all. But why is it that these were individuals who would speak about their identity as a this, that, or the other? But yet the this, that, or the other that they were was something that was driven quite plainly by pain and deep-seated issues. Sure, during the short term, these were individuals who could find some kind of solace there, alright? Within that group or within that mentality, they traveled to a certain mentality. But in doing so, they were kind of like making the issue worse, almost worshipping it. They were making their out of alignmentness more extreme. They weren't growing. Alright? So, why? I would say because it's easier. And people want to have the easy route. I myself have given myself the time. I've given myself the work. I've gone through a lot of progression in my own life and in my own journey. I had issues. I've dispensed of them. Okay? Taken them, got rid of them. Clean house, so to speak. Improved what I am inside. Because I saw it as important to find coping mechanisms, alright, understanding, okay, of myself, trying to work out what was going wrong, changing my lifestyle and who I'm associated with and what I do to help me to get into alignment or to get closer to it. Alright, because I don't think we ever, there's no such thing as a clear, as L. Ron Hubbard said. It doesn't exist. We're all humans. We all oscillate up and down, or in and out, or back to front, or from red to green to blue to yellow to purple to whatever, the primary colours in all different directions around this like line of perfect alignment, which we'll never get to, ever. Never, 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 never. There's no such thing as perfectly being in alignment. But there is little things that one can do on one's day-to-day basis, as you can tell just by looking at them, alright? I've had some work done on my teeth. I was terrified of it. I knew full well there was a possibility it would be done without anesthetic. I don't like pain, okay? But I knew this almost complete stranger was going to be rooting around inside my mouth with metal implements, alright, for 2 hours on one of the appointments to try and restore the upper line of my teeth. And I've obviously got more work to be done on the lower level, and then of course there's the back and the rest of it. It could be quite a long time before everything is totally restored. But when this time came, I was in fear. Okay, fear was like beneath beneath the line of alignment. Okay, seriously beneath it, like way down there, way down. Right. And there's many different types of fear, but this was a particular type of fear which you can only get if you're anticipating 2 hours in a dentist chair, okay? And I started doing something about it. I used an exercise which is most likely, or possibly, or arguably, or one point of view is psychological in nature, to try and deal with it. So I was sitting there in the dentist waiting room, and I got out my mobile phone, my cell phone, okay. So I was saying before my camera batteries died, there was I sitting in the dentist waiting room, okay, anxious as hell, okay, seriously beneath the line of alignment, alright, and I started reading my King James Version Bible application on my phone. Now, what is there anything in particular which is magical about the Bible? Might be, might not be. Do I personally have an association with it? Yes, I do. I've chosen to. But and I will be the first one to admit this. Whilst I was sitting there reading this, there were two things happening at the same time. Number one, my eyes were scanning over this rather archaic language, okay? But there was also something happening in the back of my mind. It's like I could feel like lots of little thoughts being sorted out and like put into their right boxes and, you know, kind of like calming me down and helping me to gain a bit of perspective. And the emotional like intensity of where I was before I started reading it to after I'd read it and the appointment was about to begin was dramatic, and I was calm, I was balanced, I wasn't, you know, afraid, I wasn't in fear, okay, I was in not total tranquility, it was a dental appointment, but I was definitely a lot better off emotionally, okay, because I had taken some responsibility to do a contemplative exercise, alright, which to everyone else in the dentist waiting room was just me sitting on my backside, reading something on my phone. But in practice, was a tool to help me to get closer to the state of mind of alignment for that one particular occasion. No, reading is not a cure-all. Reading the Bible is definitely not a cure-all. But it is something that one can do to try and get some perspective. You don't have to take in the words always, but you do need to do something to help to bring you back to that state of alignment and a more healthy attitude to what you're doing. The same thing with prayer. Okay? I've mentioned it before in my earlier videos of seeing it from a psychological perspective because I want people to start doing it. And it can be done like a mantra, it can be done like this, that, and the other way, or indeed just like the standard, boring religious way. It has a changing effect, not necessarily a transformative effect, but a transformative effect for the moment when you're doing it, which can translate itself, if done regularly and over time, into helping you out somehow. Okay? So, these things are wellness tools. They're not curing, they're not cures, but they're things which you can use to help to bring you closer to alignment. Alright, to bring you closer to a state of mental and emotional wellness, to give you a certain level of clarity, of understanding, to help you to think more about about what's going on inside you, and to stop you from almost worshipping the negativity, the darkness, the issues you've got. You know, I hate them because fuck off. Okay, just forget that shit. Remember to breathe. Bring yourself back. Okay. And some people say like God speaks through people. That's because people often know what to say to help to bring you that one step closer to alignment, or to take you away from the issue you've got at that time. So listening is an important part of alignment, okay? Important part of getting yourself to alignment or trying to progress towards it. There's no perfect thing, and everyone will do things in different ways to overcome bad shit, okay? For me, ranting at people on YouTube is a great way for me to come closer to alignment, because I can... There's views which people have had, which I have seen them have, which I have objected to. And I've seen this like really, really big time throughout the New Age movement and the times when I was face to face involved in paganism, okay? And it was wrong. But, and I have helped people. And I've helped people to look closely at what they were thinking and to see it as being out of alignment. So we're all, every single one of us, like wounded healers, right? We're all out of alignment. Every single one of us. But maybe there's more things that you can do to help to bring you back. Just bit by bit. And to deal with whatever the fuck it is that's, whatever the issue is that's screwing with you right now. Your bad dreams, why do you have them? Maybe it's nature talking to you. Why do you have a headache? Well, maybe it's because you've been eating the wrong food. Okay? I'm a lot closer to being in alignment now than I was when I first came on YouTube, I'm telling you that. Because I've gone through a lot. I've been a lot of things. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've had to go through alignment. I've had to get counselling. I've had to sort out this, that and the other, just to try and bring myself closer to where I can be. And of course money's been a big issue for me as well. In my earlier days of YouTube, I couldn't always afford vegetables. So my diet went downhill. I'd like eat rice, breakfast, lunch and supper. That was it. Just boiled rice. Because I couldn't afford anything else. So, nowadays I can afford vegetables. I know some people say, you eat vegetables, you're crazy. But seriously, they're good. Carrots, wonderful. Onion, manna from heaven. And it helps. It helps a lot. And so I became more diet conscious. I became more nutrition conscious. I went gluten free. I looked more into things for the kitchen so I could then, use that as part of my alignment. I've seen, I saw this one guy on YouTube and he was talking about tea. And you know how much I love tea, okay? And this guy was talking about using the process of making tea or using the kitchen as your dojo, as your spiritual training ground to help you to develop more positive attitudes and that thing which interrupts the day so you can then make more wise decisions about life. What was he talking about? He was talking about alignment. Okay, alignment. It's a very important concept. So move away from this black and white good versus evil bullshit. Okay, it doesn't help. Okay, we got the legal system to deal with all the really, really bad stuff. Okay, which you won't be a part of. But look at your alignment and think about it. And think about bringing yourself back into alignment. Bring yourself closer to alignment. Do what you have to do, find out more, work on your spirituality, your psychology, your emotions, do your meditation, get your good food in, get yourself some exercise. Look after yourself. Okay? And everything else can start to fall into place. Which reminds me of another Christian phrase, which I'm going to bore you with right now. Seek ye first the kingdom of the Lord, and all these things shall be given unto you. But will they be given? No, they won't be given. But as you get closer to alignment, you find yourself much more able to work, much more able to have healthy relationships with your family, with your friends, and all the rest of it. And everything else starts to fall into place. Look after yourself and seek alignment.